All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of multiPOP. Ooh, we are so proper today. Churl.
Pinkies up.
The world's greatest Pinkies Up pop culture podcast. This is your host, Brian, and today I'm joined with...
Jordan.
Jerry.
Manny.
And we're gonna start doing a few little mini episodes this year on, things that we like, shows, comics, all that fun stuff. We have our regular episodes per usual. We want to do, kind of some smaller, more intimate episodes, I guess you could say, with our pinkies up. So today's episode is going to be on the very popular show on Netflix and awesome comic, The Umbrella Academy. So we're going to have my daughter Jordan kick this one off.
I really liked it. At first, like the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was kind of like, oh, it's okay.
It takes a little bit.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to get into it, but once I did, after that, it was awesome. My favorite character probably is Klaus. He's hilarious.
Klaus is awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, to me, besides like him and Vanya are tied for most interesting character because there's still a lot about Klaus I want to know. There's just a lot that hasn't been answered yet, and about his power in general, about like...
Oh, yeah, because we really didn't see the full grasp of his power until the final episode.
It's like his power, we saw like him channel Ben, but I kind of want to see... Oh, and then you saw like him talking to that Russian woman and those horrible bounty... What are they called?
Cha-Cha and Hazel.
Oh, yeah.
They can't shoot.
God, they can't shoot at all.
They graduated from a Stormtrooper
I was
Academy.
going to say.
Horrible.
Yep. Stormtrooper U. Valedictorians.
Shooting broadsides of barns.
So Klaus is my favorite character, but I think Allison has my favorite power. The fact that she I heard her rumor.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know why I like that so much.
It's wicked. Yeah.
I really like that. I read or heard somewhere that next season they're gonna focus on the kids more when they were kids.
Well, yeah, because when
They
they're...
kind of have to.
Right?
Yeah.
Or no,
By the way,
that...
spoilers ahead. We got to start getting better at saying that during the beginning of shows.
Yeah, but I really want to see the kids, them
As
growing
kids?
up more.
Yeah.
You can actually see them working together
Right,
as a team
'cause we didn't
instead
really,
of just,
it got
surly
teased.
against each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I got enough to know that they hated Vanya and she was outsider
Yeah.
Right.
within the family. You know?
Right.
So I kind of sympathized with her and her story and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like the team manager. I mean, when they were kids.
Right.
When they were kids.
Right.
She
Assistant
Equipment
coach.
manager.
Yeah.
Here's the clipboard.
Yeah. My least favorite is either Luther or Diego. I don't really like... They're okay. Whatever.
Diego's whack macho.
Right.
Yes.
Good way to put it.
Diego is annoying. He's a baby too.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Vanya's here. Ew.
Yeah, but you totally see, he just comes, apart anything involving mom.
His mom.
Yeah.
She's
Right.
a fucking robot, man.
Right, and I couldn't...
Yeah, but what does that say? Like his
Yeah.
most emotional, thoughts and it all came from this,
Yeah.
That's where he found the
unreal
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Diego, he had that relationship with the policewoman, but when she died, I couldn't really feel bad for her because there was no. I couldn't.
That was
they
quick
didn't
though.
show
That
me.
He got over it
2
real
episodes or
quick.
something?
Yeah.
Maybe first 2 episodes. Something like
They
that.
There was
didn't
no
show me
mourning
a
phase.
relationship between them. They just kind of talked about it, and
They
I was like,
assumed it,
I don't care about her.
Right.
So, but yeah, and
Yeah, when she went, it wasn't one of those
Right.
I was more like, oh. She's
I
awesome.
thought
she did.
when she died, I was like, why are you? He's touching everything. I knew exactly what I thought was he's gonna.
Fingerprints and
contaminated
germs are
inside
everywhere.
And then that happened.
In the sketchiest hotel ever.
The thing I like about this show is how I guess that's why I didn't really like it at first because it wasn't enough for me, enough fighting and you get to see everything. But once it gets to we're oh my god, I about said lasagna instead of Vanya. But
Hungry.
where Vanya gets a little hint of where the
Lasagna.
street lights and the alley they're walking in.
where they've been down.
Yeah.
Then it starts escalating because you see more violence and you see there wasn't a lot of blood in the beginning. Then there was when Vanya gets her powers and
she
knocks
starts
out
fucking
those
shit up.
guys,
Yeah.
the blood increases by 1,000. And
Yeah.
when she cuts Allison with the bow of her violin,
But that was what, like
I thought she
episode
would did.
8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it took a while to get to that point
Yeah.
for me, but when it did, it was good. I really like the soundtrack for the most part.
I was intrigued in the first place because I knew it was Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Dark Horse has a reputation of pretty cool shit. And to find out that My Chemical Romance did the whole thing, I was like,
Well, Gerard Way.
Gerard
but yeah.
Way.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll see his face and say, "Oh, My Chemical Romance."
Right.
Like, that's,
Right.
that's him.
That's what I do.
I mean, I've seen his name pop up, for years.
Yeah. And he
coming
does
to
a ton of
Comic-Cons and
Comic-Cons
stuff.
around here,
And I was just
especially,
like,
yeah.
I didn't know this was so popular, and then I heard that the Netflix was going to pick up a show, and I was like, wow, this is something I probably should have been up on.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty rad.
What's really cool about Umbrella Academy is that the history isn't that long.
No.
There's only really 3 stories, and 2 of them are kind of go together.
Right.
So they've got the last story that they've done is Hotel Oblivion, and so that's really the only content that they can draw from. I really like what Netflix and the producers, Gerard Way, whoever's involved. I really like what they've done is that it's kind of like a blank slate. They can really do whatever the hell they want to do with these characters now that they've been established.
And especially since he's involved.
Yeah. And there's no precedent of them, going back in time and reforming back to, their childhood, forms. That didn't happen in the comics.
Right.
So they can really do whatever they want for the second season, and then they can kind of, if they want to, lead into Hotel Oblivion if they want to use that.
Sure. And I mean, I'm interested to see too, what are the other kids doing that weren't?
There was 43 of them,
Yeah,
right?
There's a ton more.
Yeah, but okay, so they all for sure have powers.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
Right.
But I don't think.
But we do know that a couple. Well, I know because I researched a little bit. You do get answers to those questions. Is that some of them did become villains.
Oh yeah, no,
Right.
I bet.
Some
I
of
bet.
them have an axe to grind, and they're going to use those powers for whatever they want.
But that's what I want to see next.
Yeah.
the rest.
Yes.
Like all the other kids.
I
Exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
want to see that.
And see them younger too, which is after the finale. It looks like they're time traveling and being their younger selves, just like number 5.
And they could have fought a lot of them, between the time they were kids and the time that we saw them in the show.
Right.
Yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
interested to see what they do with Vanya.
Yeah.
As far as like
her
taking her
whole
back
Dark
and
Phoenix
actually,
Yeah.
thing.
yeah, man, it was like what's the girl from Suicide Squad? The Enchantress.
Yeah.
that's what I equated it to. But like,
Nice.
she's
Oh, yeah.
more badass because like the white suit and she's just
Well, what they might do
Yeah,
is
awesome.
that she's finally realized she had powers at the end of the show, and then shit happened to them. So maybe now that they're kids, they might do some adventures where she has powers and she's
Right.
part of the team.
I
And-
think
right.
they will.
That's
And
what
they
I
help her
hope that they
control it.
do.
Yeah.
Because at the end they just all disappeared to go time jump.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And they said, well, she's always going to be the end. We just got to fix it.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Some of my favorite characters are Pogo. I know it's a animated chimp or whatnot, but the actor that plays him, I thought it was just fantastic. Least favorite Luther, number 1. They just,
Yeah, he's
and
a
I don't,
baby.
I don't know. I have to, pick up the comic and see if he's like that in the comic, but he just seemed like just a big fucking baby, like, literally and figuratively speaking.
He's number 1. He's giant Boy Scout.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The suit that he had on was just, it was stupid to me.
yeah,
I
And
couldn't
know
stop
that's
looking
how
at it.
looks- yeah, and I know it's how
I
it
was
looks in
just
the
like-
comics, but still,
Yeah, it's just.
I was like, I just kept thinking, if I was on set and I squished his, it would be squishy.
Yeah.
Like, I kept thinking about.
Oh, dick on.
Yep. What are some highlights for you guys as far as favorite characters or least
Favorite character is number 5.
Yeah.
I love number 5.
Number
His
5.
his
that kid's
power
going to go
set-
far, I think.
Yeah.
Man.
He
As a
he
child
can-
actor,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He's got it, man. He can channel an adult, like
A miserable adult,
miserable,
like none I've ever seen.
He
middle-aged
was in a
man.
Disney show
He's got
before
it.
this.
Was he? What
Like
show?
I don't know. It was like after like.
I'd love to see it and
It's
see
called-
the transition between the two.
It's called no, I don't even know if it's that one. I think it's some show called Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn.
Shit,
True
I'll
story.
look it up to see what he looked like.
Right.
You know?
Rick on?
It's dick on.
Matthew, who's one of your favorites on the show?
Vanya. I
Yeah.
adore,
Oh, yeah, you said
I
that. Sorry.
adore
Vanya's
Vanya.
awesome.
She's awesome. And
And
the musical element into
Yeah.
it.
It's
and,
awesome.
when she hulked out at the end and all white and she's just, there's no fucks. Like she's like, oh,
Yeah. And I mean, I had this feeling leading up to that. I'm like, she can't not have any powers.
Right,
You
right.
know, so I didn't know it was going to lead into a Dark Phoenix X-esque
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is, it's very, very eerily similar to, but, she ends up being the most badass out of all of them.
Right.
And really the strongest. So I also enjoyed Ben a lot, even though we didn't really get to see or hear from him a lot, but just the little scenes that he's in there, even though he's dead and only Klaus can see him.
Only
I thought he
talking to
did pretty
Klaus.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben's power is awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever
Fucks
that
it up.
is.
But you could tell it hurts him though. Like even as he's dead and he's using the power in the last scene.
It ain't the
like,
most comfortable thing to do.
No.
He's got like some kind of portal or something like in his chest, and it's
Like a flirkin.
Yeah,
That's true.
crazy shit. It really is.
It's-
But I thought it was great that the whole thing where the Professor Hargreaves is telling Klaus, like, you have no idea what your potential is.
Right.
All you're doing is talking to dead people and then most of the time he's getting drunk or getting high, so he can't interact with them. And he's like, if you just gave a fuck, for a little bit, you could, there's no limit to your powers. And then we see that kind of shit, that little extra thing where he takes his powers of communicating with the dead.
Yeah.
But it's a dead person with powers that can be used in the real world. It was amazing.
I appreciated
loved
his story.
that. I loved
The
that.
whole love story when he fell in love in the war and
Yep.
all of that shit, and how it affected him later on. Like I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah.
And he played the part. Like he was in love.
Yeah. Yeah,
Poor guy.
he's definitely. I mean, to me, the show has a lot of highlights. For the exception of Luther, unfortunately. But I'm excited to see what happens in season 2, and hopefully, this isn't going to be a whole Marvel Netflix thing where we get a couple, solid seasons out of a show and then they up and cancel it.
Right.
I think
Netflix, if you're listening, let's ride this
don't
one
fuck
out a
this
little
up.
bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Netflix is cutting
Bring back
all
Mary
the
J.
Marvel
Blige.
stuff.
Right.
They're cutting all the Marvel stuff out now, so they're really gonna lean into Dark Horse and these other obscure
Well,
Mark
Jessica
Milner.
Jones is gone, right?
Right.
Luke Cage has been gone. Daredevil, all that shit's
But they bought the rights to all of Miller World or Mark Miller.
Oh,
Miller
yeah.
World. So
Yeah.
all of his characters are going to be. You're going to start seeing a lot of shows on Netflix with stuff that isn't necessarily DC or Marvel. So that's
Good.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I like that too. So check out Umbrella Academy if you have not already.
Also,
with
if
all the
you're-
spoilers we just gave you.
Also, if you're interested in the comic backstory, I'm sure Sailfish Comics has the back issue
There you go.
trade paperback.
Shout out
of
Sailfish.
Umbrella Academy.
Two
I'm sure they
locations.
did.
Yeah.
I've seen it there before.
Isn't
yeah.
the first one called Gas?
I'm not sure.
I
I'm
have
sure.
the first one. It's called Gas Operation, something like that. I don't know.
But check out Sailfish,
Well,
Greensboro,
if it-
and Winston.
if it's
Salem
out, they got
locations.
Yeah.
So
That's where I got
shout out
mine.
to our good buddies over at Sailfish, and that is going to do it for us. So we're going to ride out with a sponsor ad.
There's a proverb that says, where beer is brewed, all is well. And where beer is drunk, life is good. Four Saints Brewing Company meets both those standards. Enjoy great beer for great people in a comfortable and relaxing family-friendly environment. Life is good at Four Saints with weekly events, including trivia, a run club, and live music with no cover. There's more info at foursaintsbrewing.com. Then visit Four Saints Brewing Company right here in downtown Asheboro. We look forward to pouring you a pint of great beer for great people soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Pop Culture as Fuck, presented by MultiPOPtural. Be sure to check us out at our website for all the latest news and notes. You can find us at www.popcultureaf.com or multipoptural.com. And we'll see you next week, you filthy animals.
Yes! Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.